Hey guys, this is Music Lover 93.
Hi everybody, Michael DeSisto here, Sam's boyfriend, and today we have a special guest with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel O'Brien, Michael's best friend, and today we are going to be discussing the facts about my favorite composer, Ludwig Van Beethoven.
That is absolutely correct, Daniel, because since Daniel is the first time I have him in this video, and this will be a special music facts video because this is why we have Daniel in this, because Beethoven is his favorite composer.
That's right.
I apologize that it was for the long wait on that, but here I am doing another music Facts-O-Rama video, and this is episode 3. So, since we're doing a classical composer, of course it'll be in the background in the editing. It's always like Beethoven music, including his Fifth Symphony, your bass, and so on.
Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah, that'll also include
Ode
too.
to Joy.
Yeah, and this will be really interesting. So, as always, gonna be doing the music facts, but this time I'll three of us will take turns. So it'll be me, Michael, and Daniel. So without further ado, let's get on with the facts about the famous composer in the classical period. Alright, so fact number 1. Beethoven was forced into music. Beethoven's father, Johann Van Beethoven, knew his son enjoyed playing, so he took upon himself to try to create a prodigy like Mozart. It didn't matter what time, night or day. Beethoven was forced into practice until he could be the prodigy level. The truth is, Beethoven didn't have a good father, because since he's an alcoholic and he just wanted him to be the next Mozart. However, he's really not like Mozart, so I just feel like it's not right to keep pushing, because he's only a child and he was abused by his father, and it was pretty sad. So, in this day, nobody should ever abuse their child like that.
No way.
This is definitely a true fact since I watched a documentary about him, and this is what was going on. Babe, we'll have you get your fact number 2.
Okay, so Beethoven had his first public concert at the age of 7. On March 26, 1778, Beethoven had his first ever piano recital concert. His father had arranged this to show off his son's exceptional musical talent. Although described as being shy and reserved, Beethoven enjoyed the fame and attention the concert drew.
Yeah, so he is only 7 years old when he goes to his first public concert.
That's quite a talent.
Yep, he is still a child prodigy, and like I mentioned in the last one, he's not exactly Mozart, but he definitely has musical talent. Yeah, I know that as a child, Beethoven is shy, but he's definitely still can be a genius. Okay, Daniel, now this right here is really interesting.
Thank you, Sam. In 1787, on his first visit to Vienna, 16-year-old Beethoven performed for Mozart. Mozart, then the greatest composer in Vienna, was generally unimpressed with other musicians being so far ahead of his peers in talent and accomplishments.
Yes, so he traveled all the way to Vienna so he can meet his idol. And yeah, he was a teenager when this happened, so Beethoven played one of Mozart's piano concertos. I think his 24th one in C minor. He was stunned. So the truth is here, for how Mozart was saying, when Beethoven had finished, Mozart walked into the room where his wife Constance was entertaining friends. He said, pointing back into the music room, "Watch out for him," or "Watch out for that boy. One day he will give the world something to talk about." Yep, that's what Mozart said about him. Now the question, do they actually met? The truth is, they met before. Unfortunately, it didn't make it in a short time, because of he has to return back to Bonn because mother was ill and she passed away. So this not be a chance to actually have him coming back to meet Mozart again, because when we get to the fourth fact, this is what was going on. Because he was originally wanting to get back to Mozart in 1792, but Mozart has already passed away on 1791 at the young age of 35, so it's already too late for Beethoven. So right now he met and studied, I think it's his teacher, with another classical composer, Joseph Haydn. In 1792, Beethoven returned to Vienna. This was a year after the passing of Mozart, and Joseph Haydn was said to be the greatest composer alive. He started taking lessons with Haydn, often called the father of the symphony. Haydn was impressed and promised to take Beethoven as his student once he returned to Vienna. The truth is, Haydn encourages Beethoven and told him that he should move to Vienna, and he was really happy because he did not want to deal with his father anymore, because his father died on the same year, so he did not want to go to his funeral after being treated like this. So I don't blame him for that. So he enjoyed his life, his stay in Vienna, and studying with Haydn. Even though they have some ups and downs, but I just figured he's definitely a much better teacher. And I forgot to mention this, that Beethoven's father is actually his first teacher. I would definitely think Haydn is definitely a way better teacher.
I agree.
Indeed.
Especially he's definitely one of the, I believe he's probably as popular as Mozart, because I know they're both in the classical era, and he has composed hundreds of symphonies, and also often with the quartet. He's also famous with his quartets. We'll definitely get to the facts about Joseph Haydn in the future, because I love this composer. So we'll get to fact number 5. So it's back to you, babe.
Alrighty. So, another thing about Beethoven is he wrote sonatas for his love interests. It was completed in 1801 and dedicated in 1802 to his pupil Countess Giulietta Guicciardi. The piece is one of Beethoven's most popular compositions for the piano, and it was a popular favorite even in his own day. And in his early 30s, he wrote the Moonlight Sonata after he had finished with some commissioned work. And there is no evidence that he was commissioned to write this sonata.
Yes, so this is what was going on when Beethoven's actually composed something that is about to his love interest. It's also one of them is started with his Moonlight Sonata. Unfortunately, it did not work out that well. So she rejected him. So there's nothing. So they're not interested. She's not interested in marrying him. That's definitely another good fact. There's another fact about Beethoven. He's had no luck with didn't have a good luck with women.
That's right. He never got married.
His Moonlight Sonata is definitely one of his popular ones on the piano, especially. And for his third movement of his Moonlight Sonata, however, it's definitely challenging, especially it's in presto. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm able to do this on a piano, but it takes tons of practice to get it, because especially it's faster. But I know his second movement is in a different key, and it's definitely not so bad. But I know his Moonlight Sonata is definitely gets slow. But this third movement is the only. I know Beethoven composed a lot of challenging pieces, especially on the piano. And especially his Pathetique Sonata, that's like the first movement, just has the cross hands. Yeah. Okay, so fact number 6, here's another popular one, so it's back to you, Daniel.
Thank you. Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, Op. 67 in C minor, was written between 1804 and 1808. This is why Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 is so incredibly popular. You've heard the first 4-note opening quoted in classical and popular compositions, in particular, are known worldwide, with appearing frequently in popular culture from disco versions to rock and roll covers, to uses in film and television. Beethoven started his Fifth Symphony in 1804, and he knew he was going deaf. He wrote it over nearly 4 years when he also was busy on compositions including string quartets, concertos, and 2 other symphonies. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da.
That's it. That's the one. That's one. It's definitely recognizable for the opening because that's so popular and it's everywhere when they played it, even in commercials.
Yep.
And even in movies or even shows. Yes. And I forgot to mention this. Yeah, when Beethoven is definitely, I think, when he's in his mid-20s, he just had a ringing in his ear and definitely know what was going on. And you know, Beethoven does change when he, since he's become an adult. He had a short fuse, and because of becoming deaf, he gets more violent, and he knows that he's going to be losing his hearing. So yeah, if he can't hear anything, and yes, I know deaf. When people are becoming deaf like that, you can just do it by you could just feel it, just like the vibrations, you know. And yeah, this is. It may be not easy to communicate with a deaf person. But once you have the musical talent, they have a different way to do it. So it was quite interesting to know about what was going on. Now, fact number 7 is definitely a long one right there. And I know that you, Michael, that you mentioned is up on your 5 facts on your xylophone thing about that. So I'm going to read it this time. On April 27th, 1810. Magic Italian number 25 in A minor for solo piano, commonly known as Fürlies. I know some people pronounce it Fürlies, but some people just do it differently, but I'll just pronounce it that way, just Fürlies. Anyway, one of Beethoven's most popular compositions. So my question is, who is Elise? Here's 3 theories why they call it Elise. So the first theory is Elise was Beethoven's one that got away. Beethoven had a doomed love affair with a woman named Therese Malfatti. She was his student and fell in love with her right around the time of the composition of Elise. We're not quite sure how exactly they broke up, but we do know that he proposed. And she either said no right away or strung him along for a while and then said no. Yep, obviously because you're just asking to marry her, it's definitely a big no, unfortunately. Either way, Therese then married someone else. So the most popular theory that our friend Ludwig, no, I'm not sure if I pronounced this correctly, but I'll put it in any. He misreads Beethoven's messy handwriting, and that in that reality, the piece was labeled where it's actually supposed to be called Für Therese, not Fürlies. Yes, this is definitely true that it was supposed to be because the misspelled mistake from Beethoven's messy handwriting was supposed to be called Für Therese, not Fürlies.
Wow.
And that's where it's supposed. Right. This is what was happening. So the second theory, Elise was Beethoven's opera singer BFF. A few years before writing Fürlies, Beethoven became friends with an opera singer named Elisabeth Kell. I'm not sure if I pronounce it. I don't know how Germans pronounce it. Whose nickname may have been Elise. Elizabeth to Elise doesn't seem to be that much of a stretch. We don't have any documentary evidence that anyone actually did call her Elise. Beethoven and Kell were close friends until she married Beethoven's frenemy, Johann Hummel. Perhaps Fürlies was written in the midst of the friendship or his way to say goodbye. Yeah, so once again, Beethoven, and when he was asked to marry, ending up marrying with another man. What a shame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not good.
And the final theory, Elise was one of Therese Malfatti's friends. The least likely scenario is that Beethoven wrote the piece for another woman nicknamed Elise, Julianne Catherine Elizabeth Bansfield, who used Elise as a variant for first name. She was a musical child prodigy who was Teresa Malfatti's neighbor and could have been her student. This theory holds that Beethoven was willing to do anything for his one great love, Therese, including writing a quick piece of music for one of her favorites. So that's just a few theories about Elise. So that's my definitely question who Elise was. So now you know. I apologize I butchered the names. Because most of them is like German and I'm not really good at German.
I've never learned German
Me
either.
neither.
Yeah, so this is what was going on. But I'll definitely learn Fearless eventually since it's definitely a very iconic piece. And it's good on piano, especially for for people who experience this, no matter how old they are. It's for the experience and it's also about the challenges too, because you always have the challenging part like it's for the left hand, on the right hand part. Okay, now let's get to fact number 8, so we're almost done with that.
Okay, number 8. So, Fidelio is the only opera that Beethoven composed. The German libretto, originally prepared by Joseph Sonnleitner, from the French of Jean-Nicolas Boully, with the work premiering at Vienna's Theater an der Wien on November 20th, 1805. The following year, Stefan von Breuning helped shorten the work from 3 acts to 2. After further work on the libretto by George Frederick Treitschke, a final version was performed at the Carnottor Theater on May 23, 1814. By convention, both of the first 2 versions are referred to as Leonore.
Beethoven was not really an opera composer, unlike Mozart or Rossini or any of these opera composers, mostly in a romantic period. So Fidelio is the only opera Beethoven composed. So yeah, it is true that he's not really an opera composer.
Right, even though he only just composed that one opera and then just moved on.
That is true. He was already completely deaf at the time, and this will be very known for that he's very deaf at the time. So now we get to fact number 9, which you'll definitely like this one too, Daniel, because it's definitely known that he's still fully deaf in his later life.
I'll bet. Okay, fact number 9. Symphony number 9 in D minor, OP 125, is a choral symphony. The final complete symphony by Beethoven, composed between 1822 and 1824. By the time of its premiere, Beethoven was completely deaf. At the end of the piece, the crowd burst into applause, but Beethoven, who had been a few measures behind the symphony, continued to conduct. The contralto, Caroline Unger, walked over to Beethoven and turned him around so he could accept the rousing applause.
Yes, so while this is happening, when there's people in the theater applause, everything is completely silent because he's fully deaf. They even have like Beethoven movies, when this is shown too. I think I haven't seen. I know that he's in. I know there's
Immortal
a movie,
Beloved.
I know there's that's definitely the movie in 1994. And
Yep, I have that movie.
And there's another movie about Beethoven in 2006 called Copying Beethoven, which I saw a little bit of that one, which definitely take a look at it too. Yeah, it definitely shows the part when it's Ninth Symphony, when there's applause, when everything is applause, it's like it's being muted. It's just the truth. So the final fact about Beethoven is he died during a thunderstorm. In fact, he passed away on March 26, 1827 after a long illness. His friend comparing the moment to the composer's symphonies with crashes that sound like hammering on portals of faith. We don't really know Beethoven's final words, although his friends and biographers have recorded in many many different versions, including Pity Pity, Too Late, or Applaud. My friends, the comedy is over, and I shall hear in heaven a reference to his deafness. Yeah, so this is true that Beethoven died during a thunderstorm.
That's right, I've heard about that. Yep, I think when that happened, he collapsed in his bed when he passed away.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, that's correct.
This is when this is happening, and this is already at the time. This is already a romantic period. This is in 1827, when they have I know when Beethoven passed away, they have a popular composer, Chopin, is a teenager because he's born in 1810. Now, Chopin will definitely more facts about it because he's one of my favorite composers, especially know that Chopin is popular known for his piano works. It'll be much more difficult because, this is the romantic period, so yeah. So that is the facts about Beethoven. So yeah, once again, I apologize for the long wait, but I'll definitely get them very soon. We'll be back just me and Michael, and because there will be more other stuff to have facts about other artists, because I could do jazz singers, could do some more composers. There will be favorites too. So thank you for joining, Daniel.
My pleasure, Sam. You can always count on me.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, this is Music Lover 93 signing out.
Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching.
See you around.